Top-level sources in the government have told headlines today that India was very keen to pursue these talks with Pakistan. It was India's initiative to invite Pakistan's Prime Minister for these, for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's swearing in. It was Pakistan's turn to come to India for talks, but it was India that agreed to Pakistan's request that Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh should travel to Pakistan and that Foreign Secretary level talks should happen to explore avenues for resumption of dialogue. India was extremely sincere, according to my sources. They said that when India learned that Pakistan was meeting separatist leaders, and this was a red line as far as the new Narendra Modi dispensation is concerned, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is keen that India and Pakistan talk to find solution to the problems that the two countries are facing. Poverty being one of them. India made it very clear that talks with separatists will not be in the fitness of things. Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh spoke to Aizaz Chaudhry in Pakistan this afternoon and said talking to the Hurriyat will only vitiate the environment. Then India waited for Pakistan to take action. It was only after Shabbir Shah went into the Pakistan High Commission and came out saying that talks had taken place with Abdul Basit that India with a heavy heart decided not to go ahead with talks with Pakistan because the correct environment, the right environment for talks wasn't there.
The environment wasn't there. The provocation was specific. A warning had been given. What other action could there be taken? And let's just clarify for our viewers that this is action that's come from the very top of the Modi government. In the face of Pakistan's continuous provocations along the line of control, India called off the Foreign Secretary level talks scheduled for less than 1 week from now. Prime Minister Modi registered India's protest in the strongest terms, sending out a clear and unambiguous message to Islamabad, calling out Pakistan's bluff and its engagement with separatists. India questioned the Pakistan High Commissioner's meeting with Hurriyat leaders, telling its neighbor not to interfere in its internal affairs, including Kashmir. Well, Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh was supposed to meet her Pakistani counterpart Aizaz Chaudhry on August the 25th in Islamabad. The Foreign Secretary level talks would have marked the resumption of dialogue a year and a half, 20 months after the beheading of an Indian Jawan by Pakistani troops, took diplomatic ties to an all-new low and ended them pretty much altogether. All right, we have with us Rizaul Laskar, who is the Bureau Chief of Mail today. Also with us, Atir Khan. Yasin Malik joins us live from Srinagar as well. Separatist leader Yasin Malik, I'd like to come to you first for a quick reaction. What do you think? Did the Modi government have any other choice than to send this hard message, given the provocations that have come from Pakistan?
Mr. Narendra Modi said that I will follow the path of the Atal Bihari Vajpayee on every issue. If you remember, when the Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India, when he invited the President of Pakistan, Mr. Parvez Musharraf, to Agra summit, and Mr. Parvez Musharraf, before meeting Vajpayee, met in Delhi all Kashmiri leaders, and Indian government facilitated that meeting.
But Yasin Malik, this time the Pakistani government was warned.
No.
Either if they spoke to separatist leaders, then the talks would be messed up. They would be threatened.
Either you allow me to speak or you speak.
No, please answer my question though.
No, I am answering your question. I said even when Atal Bihari Vajpayee declared Ramzan ceasefire, he told Kashmiri leaders, you can go to Pakistan, meet Pakistani government, and you can meet militant leaders there to create an atmosphere for the dialogue process. Now from last 24 years, every regime in Delhi, whether it was NDA, whether it was Congress, whether it was BJP, NDA government, whosoever was in Delhi from last 24 years, they use it to facilitate all those meetings. Whenever any Pakistani
Why should Pakistani leaders meet with the Hurriyat? They are not even elected representatives of the Kashmiri people. Who are they? They are fringe persons. All they mean is trouble. Why should they meet them at all?
If they are fringe elements, why Indian Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee themselves met them?
Talk about
why the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Manmohan Singh,
there are two things happening here.
Met them.
There are two things that are different this time.
Why
There
4
are two
days
things
back,
different this time,
Mr.
Yasin Malik.
why
One,
4
that there has
days
been a
back,
specific
Home
warning.
Minister,
There has been
why
a specific
4
warning to
days back,
Pakistan saying don't
Home
meet the
Minister
Hurriyat.
of India,
Second, Pakistan has gone ahead and done it, which means they don't care about the fate of talks. That is what is different. This is not about Vajpayee versus Modi. It's different.
4 days,
it's a totally different government.
4 days back, Rajnath, why 4 days back, Home Minister of India, Mr. Rajnath Singh, conveyed a message through media that I want to have a dialogue with the separatist leaders in Kashmir in the ambit of insaniyat as Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee has pursued. If they are fringe elements, why Indian government is inviting Kashmiri leaders for talks?
What do you think is going to happen now, Yasin Malik? Does it make you happy that talks have broken down?
No, it is not a matter of happiness or angry. The question is simple. The message is simple that government of India do not want to resolve Kashmir issue. They want to talk with
clearly
Pakistan
the separatists are not
on
going to see
bilateral
any
lines.
as far as Pakistan is concerned in what has happened right now. Yasin Malik, just listen to a couple of other views also. We're coming back to you. Gaurav.
Well, my sources in the government tell me that there is a clear departure from the leadership in the past 24 years, as Yasin Malik puts it, and this leadership. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in, that time also Pakistan was clearly told they cannot speak to Hurriyat leaders, they cannot speak to separatists before meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's point one. And point two, Pakistan has no business interfering in internal matters of India, which even the Foreign Office has made it very clear today. So there is a clear departure from what was happening in the past 24 years and what perhaps is expected to happen in the times to come. Separatist leaders, India will engage with them, if at all, as Home Minister Rajnath Singh is understood to have said, but that is India engaging with Indians.
Yeah.
Pakistan will deal with government of India and no one else.
Tariq Pirzada, I'd like to come to you. We're breaking information just now that the Indian Foreign Secretary conveyed in very simple terms to Islamabad that, yes, you've met the Hurriyat leaders in the past, but given the exploratory nature of the current talks, if you meet them this time, there's a real chance that things could go completely out of control. The talks could be off the table. That's a specific warning, Tariq Pirzada, which Pakistan has chosen to ignore.
Well, all right, let me have a minute and then you have all the time. Remember one thing, India has been delaying talks on Kashmir since the Simla agreement. And if you look at the, may I just complete?
Exploratory talks,
it
was made very clear. The initiative was from India. It was made clear that these were exploratory talks without any substantive issues. It was exploratory to take things forward. There was no need for this meeting.
Would you please let me complete?
Yeah, quickly.
So for the last 40-some years, India has been delaying talks on Kashmir for its resolution as required in the last and the most important paragraph of the Simla agreement. That is a requirement. Actually, the delay of 40 years has, holds India very much accountable for ignoring the substance and the letter of the Simla agreement.
It's a
spurious
argument.
Number two, all right, let me just continue. Leaving this point aside, you know what?
It just doesn't hold anymore, Mr. Pirzada.
Is either, no, let me get to the point. Please don't interrupt. Mr. Modi has one problem. Either he has caved in to the ultra right-wing, elements of his party, and that has led to this decision, or his real face, which is an anti-Pakistan face, in reality, that has come to light.
Okay, so you put those 2 points on the table. Okay. Rizal, I want to bring you in. Rizal has been an Indian journalist in Pakistan for a few years. He represented the Press Trust of India. He's with us with Mail today. He's the bureau chief there now. Rizal, how else could I'm not asking this rhetorically, I'm asking you genuinely, how else could the government have reacted to this particular provocation or a set of provocations as we've seen? We've seen what's happening on the line of control, the international border, them meeting the Hurriyat, despite, the news we're getting that there was a specific, piece of information given to Pakistan saying, don't do this. If you do it, it could ruin things. How else could this government have reacted?
You know, there are a couple of takeaways from this. Number one, this meeting on 25th was not about Kashmir. It was not going to be about talks about Kashmir. It was a round of talks about talks. It was the two foreign secretaries were to decide how they were going to take forward the peace process, when they were going to meet next. So, you know, I mean, really the idea of consulting Kashmiri separatists, even if it has been done in the past, somehow doesn't seem to make sense now, because Kashmir was not the issue on the table. The second and more important takeaway is that the Modi government, the India government of now, has sent out a very clear signal that it's not going to be business like it was in the past. I mean, as someone pointed out, when Musharraf had come to Agra, he was allowed to meet the Hurriyat leaders before he met Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But Mr. Modi, obviously, and his foreign minister, Sushma Swaraj, are sending out signals that they're going to do things a very different way.
Exactly. So it's not business as usual. Yasin Malik, this meeting was not about Kashmir. Pakistan was well aware of that. This was a preliminary meeting to break the ice after, 20 months of frozen relations. This was to, get things going again. It was imperative. It was necessary for Pakistan to be as sensitive as possible as India was being. And yet the separatists and the meeting with the Pakistani, establishment once again throws things completely off the table. The separatists are as much to blame in this.
Can I reply?
Yes, that question was for you, sir.
On the one side, you are telling us that Mr. Narendra Modi has sent a clear message that whatever the previous governments were doing from last 24 years, I will not repeat it.
Well, that's because Pakistan has miscalculated the response. Pakistan has underestimated the response.
Whatever it is, listen to me. If you want to go with a rhetoric, then you go. Either you talk sense.
Yeah, but
what you said, I am replying. What you are saying.
Go ahead.
You said that Narendra Modi government has taken a decision that what even his predecessor, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, was doing, he will not repeat it. That is what you said. That means Indian state had decided to choke completely a diplomatic and the political space for Kashmiri people. So what is the message for Kashmiri people from the new government?
Hurriyat is not the sole representative of the Kashmiri people. Hurriyat are not elected representatives, Yasin Malik.
That you go back. What is the message?
Don't equate Hurriyat with Kashmiri people.
Since when did the Hurriyat represent the Kashmiri people? They are not even elected representatives. Where is this entitlement coming from? The only entitlement you get is from these Pakistani visits.
Mr. From last 66 years, you hold elections here, farcical elections.
Okay, now,
but you could not purchase the sentiment.
You're telling me not to speak in rhetoric.
The sentiment in Kashmir is that Kashmiri people want an independence.
Yasin Malik will come back to this. There's been a political fight. I want to go across to Ashar Ahmed Khan, who's been tracking how the Congress has responded to this whole thing. Ashar, there has been a perception that the Congress first said, look at Modi, he's not doing anything, he's just sitting on his hands and not reacting to all these provocations. And now that the Narendra Modi government has, slapped talks off the table, you've got the Congress saying, is he crazy? Is he out of his mind? What is he doing? That's the tone of the message from the Congress. What are you hearing right now? How is the Congress planning to, look at this situation and deal with it?
Well, the Congress party, as we spoke to the senior leader of Congress, Mr. Manish Tiwari, he said that the current Indian government does not have the diplomatic competence to deal with Pakistan. What he's saying is that in the first place, they knew that Hafiz Saeed's name has been struck off the 2611 charge sheet. There have been a score of attacks, border incursions. There have been constant provocations from Pakistani side. First, they call the Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif here in India for the Prime Minister swearing in. Then they sent shawls. Now they've also agreed for a foreign secretary level talk, and now finally they are backing off. So they can't decide. They don't have the requisite competence to deal with this issue, and they clearly do not lack. They lack the policy level matters.
Gaurav, I want to bring you in because Atir is also with us, and he's going to get us a government view. But I want to quickly bring Gaurav in. What is the government's next step going to be? That's also really important at this stage, Gaurav. It's not only about rhetoric, pushing these talks off the table. Like Tariq Pirzada said in an earlier conversation, talks are going to have to happen whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, the only way forward is going to be an engagement. So what is the Modi government's next step going to be, given that this particular step they've taken is pretty harsh?
Well, my sources in the government say that the right environment for talks has to be created, and it is not India's responsibility alone to create the right environment for talks. Pakistan has to take the initiative and create the right environment for talks, and both India and Pakistan are then free to move forward on the path of economic development, which is what is the main focus, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi said from the ramparts of the Red Fort, that the entire region needs to come together and move forward economically. So perhaps it's now the ball is in Pakistan's court.
Rizal, do you agree with that? The ball is now in Pakistan's court. It's up to them to salvage this situation now. They were given a warning. They blew it in many ways.
Given the fact that there was a very clear message sent out by the Indian Foreign Secretary that the Pakistanis would have to decide whether to hold talks with the Indian government or with Hurriyat.
Yeah,
I think definitely the ball is now in the Pakistani government's court. I mean, again, getting back to the nitty-gritty, this was a round of talks that was not about Kashmir. Therefore, the reason being advanced to about consulting the Hurriyat, I mean, it really doesn't hold ground.
Yeah.
They should have been focusing more on how to take forward the peace process.
It should have been about how to take things forward. Tariq Pirzada, I'm going to come to you for a reaction. Want to quickly bring in Atir, for a moment to get a sense, because he's been speaking to his sources in the government, and so has Gaurav. Atir, what is the sense you're getting? In the next few hours, every single word that's going to be said or not said by the government now on Pakistan is going to be interpreted and linked to this action that's been taken without a doubt from the very top of the Modi Sarkar.
Well, absolutely. It's a tough call which the government has taken, but then, it was a dramatic gesture on the part of the Prime Minister to invite Nawaz Sharif on the day, for the swearing in. So with open arms, it was a great opportunity for Pakistan to resume relations. There were bilateral ties would have moved forward, the regular talks would have resumed, but then, all the structure had been prepared for this. At least to break the ice, but then it's very unfortunate this and the action of the part on the part of Pakistan had been peaking in terms of non-seriousness of taking action against 2611 perpetrators and ceasefire violations, and also now this Hurriyat. So clearly, the government is under heavy criticism from the opposition, but they say that it's a tough call which they had to take, and it cannot be seen as a gesture of weakness, because one thing which cannot be associated with Modi government is weakness.
Well, there are just so many angles at which this story actually plays out. There's a political fight here, perception, like Rizal said, that the ball is squarely in Pakistan's court now. Tariq Pirzada, will Pakistan take any kind of initiative to
Let's not waste the time.
Now?
Let me just jump on what you're saying.
Yes.
What you have said. Listen, let me just say 3-4 things, because you do not let me finish.
Yes, quickly.
Quickly. Number one, the Indian situation is that they think that these talks are in the interest of Pakistan. I do want to alert you and advise you that these talks are about as much in the interest of India as they are in the interest of Pakistan.
Absolutely.
Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif graced India.
You will have no argument on that point. You will have no argument on that point.
Number 3, I'm not pounding on one point. Let me get to the third point. The third point is, each time you delay the resolution of the Kashmir issue or the talks related to that or leading up to that,
that is an issue for the two governments to decide.
Drive the situation.
It was agreed that this round of talks did not involve Kashmir, Mr. Pirzada.
That's what you do.
That's not for you and me to decide. This round of talks had decided that this was Kashmir was not on the table.
Each time
these were explanatory in nature.
You drive the situation one step closer to war. You know what the chief of the army staff of Pakistan said 4 months ago. He said Kashmir is a jugular
But speaking about this round of talks, Kashmir was not on the table. Pakistan had been warned. They had been told precisely what the consequences were likely to be, and that's precisely what those consequences really are. A hard message has been sent out by the Narendra Modi government as far as Pakistan's continued provocations are concerned. Two questions. Did Pakistan underestimate what the reaction would be, given how Indian governments in the past have reacted to similar provocations? And more importantly, what is the Modi Sarkar's follow-up going to be? How badly backwards have India-Pakistan relations really been taken by this action? We're going to continue to track that story. It's our big story right through today and tomorrow. Thanks for watching this particular edition of Newsnight. The news continues after this very short break. Stay with us.